What's up, y'all? Flash Speaks back for another video. This here is a debate between Stephen A. Smith and Jay Williams, who used to play for the Chicago Bulls back in the 90s. He was, or 2000s, I believe, early 2000s. He was a player with a lot of promise who was pretty good. Played for the Duke Blue Devils. High pick for them, was supposed to be the next coming. Believe he came, was it before or after Elton Brand, but somewhere around that time he's supposed to lead a championship. But anyways, career was cut short due to injury, but he's a pretty good analyst on this here. He and Stephen A. are debating the Ben Simmons, James Harden trade, which has sparked a lot of controversy, a lot of different opinions, and we're going to see what they got to say. I'm going to chime in here with my commentary. You know how we do.
Simmons, or we'll start with you.
No, please.
All these pleasantries are actually scaring me.
He's scared to start because he knows I'm going to pick him apart. But
Okay.
Okay.
Good to see you, Jay.
Thank you.
By the way, your dog was here today.
Yes, Denzel Washington.
Oh, okay. There was a dog running around the office,
yeah.
and then someone
That's
told me
name.
that's Denzel Washington's. That's
you
Jay's
named a
dog.
dog after Denzel?
Because that's my dog. That's my homie. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I should have fast forwarded. A lot of this is nonsensical nonsense, but thanks for your patience.
It's a good comeback.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a good comeback. All right.
That's respect to Denzel.
I'll go with that.
Anyway, your dog.
Training day every day.
Denzel put a smile on my face, so it was nice to see him running down the hallway.
Greatest actor of all time.
Yes.
Who has more to prove? Is it Simmons?
Before Stephen A. Smith goes into it, I would like to add that I have been thinking he has been out of his mind ever since the trade has come with many of his opinions and takes. I haven't commented on them. I wanted to, but I'm feeling like maybe this is something I should do this time. But we'll probably talk about it all. Let's see.
Simmons or Harden, Stephen A?
I respectfully say James Harden. That's where I'm at with it. James Harden departs from Houston the way that he did. James Harden departs from Brooklyn the way that he did. Regardless of what side you take in terms of believing the reports, what has happened over the last 2 years is that James Harden has gotten older. James Harden has gotten bigger. James Harden has had the hamstring injuries. And we know what we saw from him last year. As a floor leader when healthy, he was absolutely spectacular. He was one of the leading candidates for league MVP honors. Okay, but now you're playing with Joel Embiid. And because of what Daryl Morey surrendered for you, it's not that, even though I like Seth Curry a lot, and I think that he's a premier three-point shooter, his statistics show that. And Andre Drummond is a rebounder demon, and I get that. It's not about them per se as an isolated player. It's that whoever went to Brooklyn address the needs that the Brooklyn Nets had. You need a playmaker. You need a defensive, stalwart. You got Ben Simmons. You need another shooter because you don't know how Joe Harris healthy he's going to be once he gets back. You already got Patty Mills. Of course, with Kyrie and Katie as well. You know, the shooter, you got...
If you notice here, Stephen A. Smith is not really answering the question. The question was, who has more to prove? The question says Ben Simmons or James Harden. And what you see him doing is bringing up what he was traded for. I don't get what that has to do. James Harden was traded for what equaled his value. That's what he was traded for. All right. He wasn't given what was less than his value. In my opinion, he was. But his value, his asking price for Brooklyn was Ben Simmons and some things, partially because the salaries needed to match up, and partially because James Harden is clearly the better basketball player. All right, so how in the world would the better basketball player have more to prove than the inferior basketball player? That just doesn't make any sense, and he's not addressing that. What he is trying to, frame the argument around the idea that because the Philadelphia 76ers gave up more for James Harden, more is expected from him. When in reality, what the Sixers want from James Harden is exactly what he is. 22 points a night, 10 rebounds, 8 assists. What Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey has said leading up to the trade in many of their interviews, what they were looking for a rebounder and a playmaker, and this is exactly what they wanted. So while the Brooklyn Nets may have gotten some of the things they were looking for, better defense for Ben Simmons, you would assume he would definitely provide that. They weren't necessarily looking for shooting, but anyone could use a Steph Curry, especially with Joe Harris's injury. And Drummond is someone they could definitely use. Both teams have done that. If the question is which team fulfilled some of the needs they fulfilled, the answer to that will be needed in terms of what they were looking for. Both teams did that. All right. But the question is, which player has more to prove? Is it Ben Simmons or James Harden? And Stephen A. Smith is just not answering that at all.
Curry. You need a rebounder. You need some girth and additional mass on your front line because Claxton and Johnson and those boys is athletic. But at the same time, you need more mass. You got a big boy like Andre Drummond you can throw in there. That's what the deal is. So considering all that was given up for James Harden, combined with the greatness of Joel Embiid and what those expectations are in Philly, if James Harden is who we know we've seen him be and who we still believe he can be, the bottom line is he still has to go there and prove it because here's the deal.
No. He's not answering the question. And he knows he's wrong. That's why he's not answering the question. What he's saying is who has higher expectations. Now, if the question was, do people expect more from Harden than Simmons? Then sure, we could say more is expected from Harden. And why? It's because Harden is a better player than Ben Simmons. So more is expected from a better player. Ben Simmons being the inferior player, less is expected from him. But the question is not who do we expect more from. The question is who has more to prove. And hopefully, Jay Williams will address that. I would, but I'm going to let them address that.
Mm-hmm. They can't win without him being who we know he can be. You ain't beating Brooklyn, Milwaukee, even Miami if James Harden brings anything less than his A game.
All right, this is just stupid. Again, why are you putting Brooklyn in that conversation? Okay? Brooklyn right now is an 8th seed, okay, or something like that, because Kevin Durant is hurt. All right, we're assuming he's going to come back. Kyrie Irving is playing only away games. Okay, he's playing half the time, if that. I don't know how many home games they have versus road games now, but he's only playing road games. Perhaps New York will wisen up and change the COVID rules. I mean, it's stupid right now, but maybe they will, maybe they won't. But right now, they're not. Okay, so that's a problem. And then you have literally no idea what Ben Simmons is going to look like. At this moment, there is no timetable for him to come back. This is what he said. Whereas James Harden, we know he will be premiering 2 days from now, Friday. Okay, so you don't know what Brooklyn is going to look like. You literally have no idea what they're going to look like. And in terms of fit, you have no idea what they're going to do. You don't know. If you were to ask the question, who's going to be the point guard for the Brooklyn Nets? Who knows? Whereas the Sixers, we know James Harden is going to be the point guard. Okay, so why would you put Brooklyn in a conversation for a team that you can't beat unless James Harden is going to play his A game? There's no way you can say that about Brooklyn. You have no idea. And then he said, Miami. What is this fascination with Miami? I understand you're respecting them because, in the regular season, they're in first place. But who in their right mind, if you go player for player, matchup for matchup, believes that the Sixers will not beat the Miami Heat? Unless you believe Joel Embiid and James Harden are just literal bums who are just underachieving bums. You must really believe that. Bam Adebayo versus Joel Embiid is not even close. Harden is a better player than Jimmy Butler, though Jimmy Butler, if someone wants to argue he's a two-way player and that gives him a little bit more value, sure you can, but just overall, the better player is James Harden. Right now, if the Sixers offer James Harden for Jimmy Butler, right now to the Miami Heat wouldn't hesitate to give up Jimmy Butler. They would get that, throw in Kyle Lowry and it was this Duncan Robinson and one of those guys too. They would do that in a heartbeat. So who in their right mind believes that Miami would beat The Sixers. And then when you talk about the third best player on the Sixers is Tobias Harris. Who is the third best player on Miami? That even compares with Tobias Harris. The little shooter, Tyler Hero. You think he's better than Tobias Harris? Really? Like Maxey will be on his level if he's not already. It's like, I mean, this is amazing. And then Milwaukee, well, we'll see about Milwaukee. I mean, they're the reigning champs. I respect them. I'm not going to say the Sixers, we're definitely going to beat them. I think next year, without a doubt, we'll be head and shoulders better than Milwaukee. But without the continuity, I got to give my Milwaukee that's valid. But Brooklyn, you don't know what they're going to look like. And then Miami, come on, stop it.
You need his A game with Embiid in order to knock those teams off. That's what I'm talking about when I say he has more to prove.
I'm happy I'm here with you today.
That's not even answering a damn question.
Sure. Because when I'm here, I feel like I raise the level of elevation that you bring to the table.
Well, I would
intellectually.
I just like being in the studio with you, my brother. I like being in the studio with you,
I like engaging in competitive theater.
That's all right.
That's what we're doing
okay.
right. So let me tell you why. The question is, who has more to prove?
Yeah.
Ben Simmons has claimed mental instability inside the Philadelphia 76ers organization.
Okay.
Okay. So essentially what that means to me is that it's my environment that's not creating the right place for me to achieve the ultimate level of success that I can personally. So what's more to prove? Now that I've gotten what I want, now that I'm out of Philadelphia, out of the likes of Joel Embiid trolling me, not really having my back, Daryl Morey, whatever the reasons are, ownership, whatever it is.
You mentioned right about Embiid.
Yeah.
You know, that's how he felt.
Now I am in Brooklyn. Mental health-wise, what is my excuse now?
Exactly. So far, Jay Williams is winning the debate simply because he's answering the question, number one.
I'm not saying that's an excuse. It's a legit concern.
Right.
But my environment has changed. Now I actually have a chance to flourish. And by the way, I don't think anybody would ever call James Harden a bum. I've heard people call...
I've never said that.
No, not you. Not you.
Right.
I've heard people call Ben Simmons a bum. I've heard people call Ben Simmons soft. Joel Embiid called him actually extra soft. I've seen during the Eastern Conference semifinals where people were questioning whether or not this dude actually loves basketball, likes to even play this sport, because he's not going to shoot a shot. He's not going to take a wide open shot. What would hinder you from being just a respectable player in the game? Don't worry about all the other mental issues. You got to go out there and hoop. You got to go out there and put in work. So all these people have questioned the manhood, essentially, of Ben Simmons when it comes to hooping. So who has more to prove? I know that James Harden can get buckets. I've seen.
Thank you very much, Jay Williams. This is so far just a first-round knockout. I don't even think he really has to say anything more after this, to be honest.
Him do it last year before he had the hamstring injury. I know to a degree what James Harden and Joel may be. They may not hit expectations, but who has more to prove? It's the guy who hasn't played basketball in 275 days, Stephen A.
I got you.
That's easy.
I got you.
That's
First-round knockout.
apparent, is it not?
Okay. Well, first of all, you're wrong. But that's not
that's subjective.
I'm saying
This little device that Stephen A. uses especially when he knows he got cooked. You just say you're wrong. Like he's just that's so weak.
But that's
you can say I'm wrong. Doesn't mean I'm wrong.
Hold on.
Okay.
You're wrong. But that's nothing new when you're up against me. I understand. All right. So we'll just get this out the way. I would remind you, first of all, anybody.
Yeah, his voice cracking and all types of shit. He just frog all in his throat. Yeah, he know he lost. Like when that happens, boys and girls, listen. When that happens, brothers and sisters, that's when you lost a debate, lost an argument.
Who called Ben Simmons a bum should be banned from talking basketball. They don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Okay.
Just because he can't shoot.
It doesn't change the fact that no one has ever called James Harden a bum. That's the point he's making. Whether or not Ben Simmons actually is a bum is not the point.
Watched Dennis Rodman walk up on the podium as an all-time 75th anniversary, all-time, top 75 players in NBA history. We know Dennis Rodman couldn't shoot. He was a rebounder.
Ben Simmons is not, I repeat, Ben Simmons is not Dennis Rodman. And this pisses me off because I'm telling you, Dennis Rodman, in my opinion, is a top 20 player in the history of the game. Dennis Rodman, from an athletic standpoint, is a top 5 athlete ever in basketball. So this is right here is ticking me off, right? Because I like those garbage players. Like, I'm the guy that loves Bill Russell. Like, I'm the guy that will not argue with the person who says that Bill Russell is the best player of all time. For me, it's Michael Jordan. However, if someone says Bill Russell is the greatest player of all time, I won't argue with them. I let them have that. Because I understand the value of a player like Bill Russell, the guy that's going to go out there and anchor that defense, the guy that you can hand the ball to in the offense. Bill Russell actually initiated the Celtics offense. They would come down with the ball, whether it was Cousy or whether it was Sam Jones. They would give the ball to Bill Russell. He was the best at setting those screens, finding those open shooters, anchoring that offense, getting putbacks, lob buckets. Bill Russell is the greatest. Like, you guys, like, right now who watch Draymond Green, right? The guy who set the blueprint for what Draymond Green does is none other than Bill Russell, right? For those who are about basketball history, you can look that up. Actually, on YouTube, you can find old Celtics games and look at the way Bill Russell played. You know, that dude right there is, without a doubt, top five player. Top five player, dominated the 60s. All right. The Draymond Greens, I love players like that. Ben Wallace, I love players like that. Dennis Rodman, I love players like that. Okay. Now, Ben Simmons has the potential to be that type of player, and at times, he is as effective as those guys. What's disappointing about Ben Simmons is that he actually has certain skills that those guys didn't have. Dennis Rodman. Yet he's less effective than a Dennis Rodman. Because we'll see him in those times where he'll have a complete mental breakdown. He'll have a complete mental breakdown and be completely ineffective in the game. Dennis Rodman can score 5 points and still affect the game in a way where they win. Ben Simmons, if he scores 5 points, all of a sudden his defense starts slipping, the rebounds start slipping, everything starts slipping. All right, like Dennis Rodman, he might have 5 points, but if you look at the rebounds, he'll have 18 rebounds. He'll have 7 assists. He'll have 3-4 steals. The problem with Ben Simmons is that when Ben Simmons is in those games, like a game 7, he'll have 5 points, not shoot the ball, okay. But then when you look at the rest of his stuff, he'll have 5 rebounds, 6 rebounds. He'll have, all of a sudden he's not getting the steals. He's just not impactful at all. That's the difference.
Extraordinaire. He was a defender extraordinaire. Those were the two components that elevated Dennis Rodman. So shooting the basketball and scoring buckets isn't the only component
You're talking about Ben Simmons' potential. You're not talking about what he really does, though.
Comes with being a successful basketball player. So to call Ben Simmons a bum, whoever that was, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Let's get that out the way. But when you call him mentally soft, you and I won't do that because that's dicey, because then we're diminishing the whole mental health issue.
What the hell are you talking about, Stephen A. Smith? It doesn't change. Just because you won't do it doesn't mean he's not mentally soft. That is the real issue. He's mentally weak. And us Sixers fans who have watched this guy from the beginning, you know, we know he's mentally fragile, in particular in the playoffs.
What folks are saying, however, is that they don't believe him when he said it was mental health. They believed he used it as an excuse to ensure that he didn't have to play, but he could still get...
Nah, that's partly true, but the reality is those who call him mentally weak are Sixers fans who watched every single game this guy's played and watched every possession that he's had. All right, so here it's easy to see, man, that this is pretty much it and it's done. But Jay Williams easily won this debate, man. All right, so yeah, let me know what you think about this here in the comments section. I'll see y'all. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.